Once again, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to ABC Amba TV. Today in our history, I am bringing you a very important excerpt that many Ambazonians had known and have not known. Our revolution is really on course, and I want everybody who has attempted to get us to Boya to know that you are doing the right thing. And before we go, let's invite our brother, Reverend Sama, to tell us what he has been telling us about the Lord Jesus, who knows Ambazonia. After that, I'll come in and greet the people of Ambazonia.
Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. You know my name, oh Daddy. I can see your hand in my life. Lord, I see your love upon me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. I dey hear your voice in my heart. Lord, I feel your love over me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know my name. Papa, you know me. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yeah, yeah. Jesus, your love, now oh. My master, your kindness, now wonder oh. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. Jesus, you said I be a picking no. Jesus, you said your love go cover me. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I look around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, yeah. Papa, you know my name, oh. Hey. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yelele, 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 yelele.
Thank you very much, Reverend, for reminding the Ambazonian people, say, Abba Father, in no Ambazonia. And to all of you who are in Ambazonia, I want to greet you with my whole heart, thanking all of you, especially those of you who are defending the land, that you are doing the right thing. Stand strong. 21 gun salutes to all of you. And I doff my cap to Mr. President, who has proven not only to the Ambazonian people, but before all to God and to men, that he can be the man that will stand in the gap and then play the people for his God. I've heard so many people who are challenging and criticizing God through the white man, that we are bringing the colonial God to Ambazonia. But unfortunately, they are talking the colonial language. They can take everything from the colonial man, but when it comes to God, they want their gods that they must carry along with them. And they must sacrifice chicken and goat to them. And they must do it in that traditional way. Because some unfortunate people have made them to think that God is what they have presented, especially those who wear clerical collars and make themselves to be representatives of God. But they are all mistaken. I would like to crave your indulgence, Ambazonians, to create time and go back to YouTube and Facebook and listen to our programs on church and politics. You will discover that in every genuine thing that actually happens, there is a fake. And so it doesn't matter how big you are as a country or as a church denomination, they can still have fake. And then since people go by the majority in this life, they will take the fake to be the real representation of God, which is not true. God is not represented by a denomination. God is represented by a people that are called out. Their ideas and their ideologies are very different. Yeah, they look at people from different angles. And when you come out and then you try to condemn everything about God, I pity you, because that is the level of your ignorance or your understanding. So please, let's be very constructive and let's be democratic in the sense that you allow people to express themselves the way they can express themselves, and don't condemn because you don't know. If you do not know, try to find out, and you will know that there are people who are extremists in everything. So as you are condemning the other people are condemning you, which is very sad. We should not be done like that. So Ambazonians want to make a difference, that when you say you are representing a thing, represent it to the fullest so that it can be seen and known that you are representing these people or this group of people. All right, with that said, I want us to go in and go straight to our program. Please, I want you to share the link of this particular episode today. It is very, very pregnant and loaded. Yes, we want to have it shared. I saw one of the technicians in the control rooms putting up something here, which I would like you to go ahead and put up that image, please. We want to touch it. All right, God bless you as we go ahead in this program. After we have heard from our brother, Reverend Sama, that Abba Father knows Ambazonia, it would be unfair for us not to tell our Father when we remember. Because when you know our Father, or that instead, when our Father says that he knows you, then our Father actually makes it clear for you to understand that he knows you and he needs a reply from you. And what is that reply? The reply will be, when I remember. And so we are going to listen to our sister share with us. And if that is your situation that you remember, please join me in singing When I Remember that God knows Ambazonia. What happens? He does it the way he does it. So many of us know and have different gods, and you can try to bring in your God in any way. Once that God can help us, we go with that God. But we know that there is no God apart from the Almighty God. And if we are singing When I Remember, and you remember your own God, that is an African or African God, because like I told you a few days ago, God is not a white man. We are being deceived because white man has made a number of people to think that they are semi-God and the assistant God. The truth is that God, who created the whole world and started civilization in Africa, but the devil also started his move in Africa. And many Africans decided to go the way of the devil. Why do I say so? Because hatred does not come from God. And when the white man came to Africa to pick up our education and our development and our civilization, they also picked up that aspect of the devil. And if you want to ask me, I will tell you that the white man has committed worse crimes than the Africans. Don't say I'm racist. I'm talking from the historical point of view. Because if you look at the way they treated our parents in the days of slavery, and they even named a sheep that was tormenting and torturing our people, they called it Jesus. That sheep came from England. And so we will know that if there are curses that most Africans are busy wasting their time, every now and then they are casting out demons that do not exist, I think the white man should have the worst of demons, because the torture they gave to fellow human beings, most Africans did not do that. And up till today, if you see the way France is dilly-dallying with us, Africans, treating Africans, taking every resource that is buried under African to themselves, and using Africans against Africans, then you know that you really need deliverance. Why is it that this France and the other European countries that are tormenting Africans, extracting their oil and everything, are not fighting amongst themselves in the way that we Africans are fighting? That's to show you that when they came and collected what they collected from us, there was the demon that actually remained with us. And today, we are fighting amongst ourselves and pointing fingers. And when we want to bring you something that God had put in place that helped all of us, you will brandish us terrible names and say colonial religion. Why don't you bring your African religion that will liberate us? You just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, and they will see the wickedness going on among those who are not even religious, church people. Next week, as I promised you yesterday, in our church and politics, I'm going to be emphasizing the difference between religion and church. And I've told the Ambazonian people that if you can see the difference between religion and church, you will discover that President Sako has proven to us that to be a church person is different from a religious person. And then Bishop, whatever you call his name, has proven to us that he is a religious person and not a church person. So we should know that difference. Anyway, we are here in our history as an Ambazonians, both in our history and in the church and politics, of which I am privileged to be a sub-teacher of that subject. I want anybody to challenge or to come out with correction, and let's work on it. Because some of us just sit up and we talk careless, very, very careless, because we don't know. Now, we are here in the ABC TV, not only to give propagandist talks, we are here to educate ourselves. And when you say something, like I read in some forums, when you say something and you need to look for the expert to give you a correction, and when that correction is given, you should go back and make a corrigendum of whatever you have said, which is not founded. Anyway, I'm not here to defend religion. I'm here to talk about our Amba history and to talk about church and politics. Those are my subject matters in these particular programs that I have on Ambazonia to help us know who we are, where we are coming from, and what we are supposed to be doing now. Let's go over to when I remember. Sister, please, can you come into the studio with me? God bless you.
And declare, hallelujah.
Thank you very much, sister. We will remember, and definitely we will remember the goodness of the Lord. And thank you very much, Reverend, because you have made us to know that Abba Father knows Ambazonia. All right, let's go. I want to let you know that what we have today is very, very important. And I want to encourage you who is watching to please share the link and invite more people, because the more knowledge we acquire, the easier it is for us to get back to home, so that these gainsayers will not think that they have won. Now, why British Southern Cameroon has been restored is revisiting the legacy of Dr. Endele. Now, this document, I'm actually having a document here before me that I will be reading from it. You know, the day I come out to just talk history orally, I will let you know that I'm just talking oral history. But the way I get a document, I will let you know. This document has been provided to me by our one and able PA chairman, that's the Presidential Advisory Council chairman, Professor Ayim. In fact, when he told me about the document, I was very anxious. And today, I have it in my hands. Yes, it is very, very important. And today, I will just give you tidbits. And tomorrow, I'll be coming out with the whole body of the article, which actually says, let me read the topic, the prophecies of Dr. Emmanuel Lifafa Ndele, uh, 10 reasons why Southern Cameroons should not join La République du Cameroon by EML Ndele, CPNC party. And he outlined a number of things which are happening verbatim today. But it's in this article. I'll be sharing those 10 points with you tomorrow. But for today, I want to say that this is an original post on CamNet in 1998 during the 10th anniversary of the death of Dr. EML Ndele. Yeah, when he died, somebody wrote, this is being reported by NN Bile. NN Bile. Most people in Ambazonia, they know of NN Bile in our politics. And I plead to ask anyone who knows where we can get a copy of the history of Cameroon by SN Tita, please do contact me, because there are a number of things that are in that book, and we would want an average Ambazonian to get a copy of that book. But before the time, I'll be finding out. Let's go. Had he not by accident of birth come from a minority tribe, monuments would have been raised to his honor in the Cameroons for his 37 years of counsel and vision to the people by N.N. Mbile. That's what he said. 34 years have gone by since Dr. E. Emmanuel Mbela Lifafe, please, Bakwere people, don't crucify me if I don't pronounce it well, Ndele, the first premier of British Southern Cameroons, passed away on June 29th, 1988. That's when he died. Over the years, much has been said about and against him, particularly by a younger generation of they call it Anglophone Cameroonians, who still do not understand his naive romanticizing of the Nigerian option during the 1961 plebiscite, and his lukewarm attitude towards the so-called third option. That is, the school of thought defended by P.M. Kale that called for the complete independence of Southern Cameroons from both the Nigerian Federation and La République du Cameroon. So we all know of P.M. Kale in the history. I mean, not everybody. Most of us who are of were coming in that generation when they were going away, we know of P.M. Kale and the position he held in the politics of the British Southern Cameroons. I am telling you that Satan is wicked. Now, when I call Satan, many of you go to look at the black man, but Satan is actually a white man. I'm sorry to say that, but if you look at the Bible, you will see that the description of Satan, who is called Lucifer, represents an average wicked white man. Yes, because he presents himself to us as if he's a god, but he's actually a fallen angel in disguise. Don't misunderstand me. I am not a racist, but want to say what is to be said exactly how it should be said. All right, let's go. What interests us in this particular article, however, is the vision of Dr. EML Ndele on the possible fate, FATE, of the English-speaking minority of the British Southern Cameroons in the reunified and predominantly French-speaking bilingual Cameroon Republic. A vision which more than ever before is of supreme relevance at a time when Anglophones, that's Ambazonians, are constantly taking stock of their stormy, how do I call it? They call it marriage, but it's actually storming Jumba with La République du Cameroon, and are trying everything possible to see that, for better for worse, is coped with. But it's not possible. We are still on that course, and see how to chart a new way for themselves. That's the Ambazonians. According to Mr. N. Bile of Cameroon Post, July 29, 1988, Dr. E.M.L. Ndele was a descendant of the great Kuva, a giant war leader of the Upper Bakwaris, who is reputed to have led the Bakwari armed resistance to the German occupation of Boya. Moved by this irresistible force of the blood of his ancestors, Dr. E.M.N. Ndele soon found himself at the grips with the mighty CDC, that's Cameroon Development Corporation, at that time, over the need for improved working conditions and better amenities for its 25,000 man workforce. That is what Ndele came out and started off with. He wanted a better living condition for the 25 men that were working in the CDC plantations for our people, and they were mostly working for the French people. Now, the preliminary to the much bigger anti-colonial struggle that actually came within the time that he rose into this particular stage. This struggle was to take Ndele through the corridors of power, both in southern Cameroons and Nigeria, before propelling him to the enviable position of the first premier minister of southern Cameroons in 1958, which means he started this struggle before the 1958. By the time Ndele became premier, the struggle for independence, or to be more precise, for integration with Nigeria or unification with la French Cameroons, had become the key political issue in the British Cameroons. After initially flirting with the unification idea, Ndele became one of the staunchest opponents of the Cameroon idea, Kamerun. You remember the Cameroon? That's talk about the German Cameroon. He championed this by this was championed by the pan-Cameroonists, who advocated for the reconstitution of the Cameroon nation within its pre-1916 borders. According to him, unification was not a priority, but an issue that had to be tackled from an evolutionary perspective. That is, if it had to be tackled at all. He was not going into this particular fight so that the restoration of before the 1916 issue came up. As he pointed out in a speech on the 25th of May 1958, what did he say? The advocates of immediate unification still have to show the world how they propose in the interest and peace of all the sections concerned to achieve their aim. What were the sections concerned? La République du Cameroon and the Southern Cameroons. Yeah, he was trying to find out how are these people going to live together. We of this government are convinced that far from being a priority issue, unification should only be achieved through evolutionary means. And in his most apocalyptic, that grammar tongue, yeah, and probably most prophetic statement against unification on the eve of the plebiscite. That's, remember the plebiscite, 11th of April, right? He warned Southern Cameroonians that if you vote for Cameroon Republic, you will invite a new system under which everyone lives in fear of the police and the army. Is it happening today? Hold on. You will not be free to move about. You cannot lecture freely or discuss your political views in the public. And you can be arrested and flogged by the police and even imprisoned without a fair trial. This is what Ndele said in 1958 in his speech. And then he asked the question, rhetorical, who among you, he asked, would like to live in French Cameroon, a country red with the blood of thousands of innocent victims killed by terrorists and the Ahidjo regime? You remember? That's why we have the Bamileke people that came into our land. And today they are playing the same game. They were being massacred and tortured by Ahidjo regime, but actually it was France that was doing it. Why was France doing it? Because France wanted to keep their dominance. And today, we have it. Who amongst you would like to live in a country which lacks complete respect for human dignity and where you cannot speak out your mind freely or pursue your business in peace? You see, just ponder on these things. When I remember, it pains me. I want you to remember, because many Ambazonians do not actually remember what happened to us. And that's why they are still playing the old game that existed before. But it's unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Okay, dear friends, I want us to continue. Now, when Ndele had asked that question, who amongst you would like to live in a country which lacks complete respect of human dignity and where you cannot speak out your mind freely or pursue your business in peace? Who amongst you would like your children to grow up in a servitude? That's slaves. That will be our lot if we join French Cameroon. This will be our portion if we join French Cameroon. This is what Ndele said in 1958. Now count the years from 1958 down to where we are now. Very soon, in the next few years, we'll be entering 2058, 100 years. But this is not even up to 100 years. About some 60-something years. Look at where we are. Are our children not slaves? You send them to school. They finish university. They come back, they are fighting self-pass in the house with you. They have no jobs. Living in servitude. You find people from French Cameroon who do not know their from left to right. They are winning and whining control over you. Look at the terrorist soldier boys. They don't even go for police training. Look at the ones they call them the DOs. They are there to sign anything that they can sign. And this is what Indele predicted. I remember I told you there are 10 points of his prophetic pronouncements that Ambazonian people, Southern Cameroonians, at that time did not give heed to. And today, we are definitely suffering the consequences. Dr. Sako has come up and is following the footsteps of Dr. Indele, shouting on his head top and on the house top that please, please, let's not give in to these coopers. Who sold us? Some of the people that sold us, they are still amongst us. I mean, their parents or their grandparents. Some of them are right inside Ambazonia now, claiming to be Ambazonians. I will tell you about Foncha because it is written here of the criminality he carried out. Endele, and a true Ambazonian, Southern Cameroonian, understood everything. But Foncha was doing things at the back. This is a report that appeared in the newspaper on the 10th of which month like that? The 10th anniversary of the death of Dr. E.M.L. Indele. Some of the people who wrote these things, they did not only hear as we are hearing today. They were eyewitnesses. Remember, in our history yesterday, one of the persons that worked with the Produce Marketing Board, one of our fathers, he's still alive, he called in to tell us that our history was real. And the devastation and the destruction that the French Cameroon came in to carry out amongst us. Indele has said it. The majority of Southern Cameroonians refused to heed to his warning and voted for Cameroon option on February 11, 1961. Indele, once again, being a man of vision, once again in history, a visionary had been rejected by his people who refused to come to terms with his sense of foresight, like they are doing today with Dr. Sako. Like a true Democrat, however, Dr. E.M.L. Indele accepted the people's verdict and went on to contribute his own quota to the molding of the Federal Republic, the greatest legacy which Dr. Indele left, says Dr. Julius Ngo on Cameroon Tribune of August 5th, 1988. They congratulate this man when he was pushed out, not by the coup plotters. I don't know what France did to our people. Anyway, it was a French stooge that came in and pretended to be an Ambazonia. Like we have the Ellie Smiths who cannot tell us where they are coming from, and they will have the Munzus and some of these demonic people from France. The majority of Southern Cameroonians that followed that, today, their children are reaping the way they refuse to go. Let me go ahead. That's Julius Ngo, Cameroon Tribute, August 1988. He said, I think the fact that he, Endele, graciously accepted the decision of the electoral of the 11 February 1961 and unleashed all his energies to achieve what voters had asked without hesitating to counsel his colleagues to have in mind the interest and the wishes of the Cameroonian people. As Endele himself pointed out at the end of the Fumbang Constitutional Conference of July 1961, I have come here to set an example that by working together, we can make a better country. If by this example, which I have set with my colleagues, we cannot produce a peaceful Cameroon, then we will be a laughing stock to the rest of the continent. This was Endele's ideologies. EML Ndele might have been brash, scornful, supercilious, and downright contemptuous of other politicians. All these terminologies are simply saying that he was mocked, he was rejected, he was jetted out, and so many things were said to make him look as if he was the bad cocoyam. And he said everything derogative about him. But as his character was, he might have been characterized by intellectual arrogance. That's how they call him, combined with princely haughtiness. That's how they were insulting him. But he was one who, according to Elive Peter King's Cameroon Post of July 29, 1988, said was cleverly aware that where two cultures meet, the bigger culture is apt to eclipse the smaller culture. And that's what we have seen. Our culture was small. Our values were different. Francophone came with their different cultures, with their, that is, people who were not humanly, oh my God. Today, a majority of Cameroonians west of the Mongo have finally come to terms with Dr. EML Ndele's unification prophecies. The most glaring manifestation of this change occurred on April 2nd and April 3rd in 1993. You know what happened in April 2nd and 3rd? When over 5,000 people called Anglophone delegates from all over the country gathered at the Mount Mary Hill in Boya for the first ever All Anglophone Conference. You know that one? Yes. That's what happened. A conference that was supposed to analyze the state of the union between the former British Southern Cameroons and the former French Cameroon, and also map out a future course of action for Anglophone Cameroonians, as they call it. What happened? In what amounted to posthumous vindication of the EMN Ndele prophecy, the participants, among them some of Ndele's most stringent pre-unification critics, condemned the numerous indignities and humiliations suffered by the Anglophone community in Cameroon since 1961, suffered by the Ambazonians or the Southern Cameroonians since 1961. This was happening in 1993. That's the first time they came together. But he had told them in 1958, on his address on May 25th, 1958, that joining these people, they will flock you. You can't walk freely. Kale will come. And so many other things. And our people gave a deaf ear. And today, our problem springs from a breach of trust on the part of the Francophone leadership and from a lack of openness in matters of public interest. Within these 32 years, our nation our union accord has been violated we have been disenfranchised, marginalized, treated with suspicion. Our interests have been disregarded. Our participation in national life has been limited to non-essential functions. The opponents of reunification had warned against these forms of repression, which even then were already being practiced in La République du Cameroon. Today, 32 years, that's when they were writing 32 years. I didn't calculate this. All right. Remember, this is written on the 10th anniversary, and we are reading it today in 2022. So do the calculation. 32 years later, which is now, how many years later? You can calculate that. Anglophones, call them the Southern Cameroons, that's how they were calling them before, regret that they had not heeded to the warnings of Dr. E.M.N. Ndele. Will you regret with your children and your children's children regret after tomorrow if we drop this fight and follow the coup plotters, the cocoyams that were destroying the work? They have gone out and they are following the same pernicious way of the wicked people that led us into this nonsense. People like Kometa should sit up and rethink. Uncle B, with all your knowledge, unfortunately, Dr. Epa, my friend, you have discovered that there is no evidence. Why don't you come back and we'll build a house? I'm calling these names today because I'm very angry as I read this history. I don't normally call names, but I'm calling your names to make you to understand. Somebody should send this message to you so that you will know that what Ndele did is what Dr. Sako is doing. Jealousy, hatred, and wickedness. I don't know what for. You cannot deliver the goods, and you don't want the person to deliver the goods, and who knows how to deliver the goods? To deliver the goods. That is how Foncha played it over our people. And today, you and I, we are fighting because of this rubbish. Why don't we sit down and get a word from the prophetics? Dr. Ndele was, as is written here, as we are seeing it. Let me go ahead. In a unanimous pang of nostalgia, the delegate recalled that before our territory attained independence in 1961, we had been practicing parliamentary democracy in a politically pluralistic society which was far more developed than what obtains in Cameroon today. I mean the French Cameroon. 3 decades later, I'll call it 4 decades later, or 6 decades. We regarded democracy as a way of life and as an ideal towards which to survive. We were neither saints nor angels, far from it. But we believed then, as we do now, that whenever a government becomes fraudulent and repressive, it is the democratic right of the people to change that government and to vote in another. That is what we believed in the British Southern Cameroons. But today, you can't try that in La République du Cameroon. You cannot even come out to say anything. But this is what we're practicing in those days in Ambazonia, British Southern Cameroons. And it is a UN charter for people to express themselves, because the government of any land supposed to go by the wishes of the people. But when they discovered that they have successfully planted a demon, an evil spirit in the hearts of Africans, most Africans, to destroy one another, the Europeans who pretended and retreated and were using Africans like gloves. Meanwhile, they are the ones really controlling. They say, hooray, we have gotten it. And they started killing themselves. Our knowledge of democracy was still very low at that time. But in this 21st century, we are not taking it lying down. That's why we must shout it on the top of our voices and tell the people, it is time. We will not leave this history for our great-grandchildren to come and be talking about it if Christ tarries to come, and if God doesn't do what he wants to do so soon, because we are looking at our own time. God has his own timetable. So, my brothers, 1958, Dr. Ndele said all these things. They were not yet in view, but today, we are living the things. An average Ambazonian has mentioned some of the things I've just read here. In spite of his shortcomings, therefore, history will remember E.M. Erindele as one of the few Southern Cameroonian leaders who lucidly analyzed the practical consequences of unification with La République du Cameroon at a time when collective myopia seemed to have gripped his people. One who foresaw the Southern Cameroons would become, to quote George Ngwane, this George Ngwane that he's quoting, he foresaw what the Southern Cameroon was to become, and George Ngwane quotes, the biblical Jonah swallowed in the belly of the annexationist whale. The whale was an annexationist that carried, wow, and whose dare die, D-I-R-E, predictions about the Anglophone second-class status within the bilingual Cameroon Republic ultimately came true in the most spectacular manner less than 5 years into the Union. And he says, see, for example, the KNDP Memorandum of August 1964. I think there's this our Pa who is calling. Hello, Pa. Hello, Pa. Okay, he has dropped. He's always contributing, and he's listening now. I pick his call because he's an elder, 65 years old, but he can still tell us some of these things that we are reading. He actually became a part of what was going on. So while we get ready to receive from Pa, I want you to remember. Thank you, sister. We'll remember. There are a lot of Ambazonians who don't remember their history because they were not told and they have never read about it. So when I read these things and I'm talking, I'm very, very emotional. It's very painful. Hello, Pa.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Pa.
I'm anxious to talk with you.
Is it to talk to the people of Ambazonia? Because I am live on ABC now.
Yes, I'm also trying to be live.
Okay, go ahead, Pa. You are talking to the Ambazonian people.
Yes, you are a man from Lugno.
Yes, Pa.
You said the other day. Let me tell you something.
Yes, Pa.
I've been hearing you people talking about CDC. That let that one check return from United Nations and told the whole 13 nation,
Counties.
13 county Southern Cameroon says he will not buy anything from from Southern Cameroon should carry it away.
Mm-hmm.
And say, when you want to cross water, you have to test it with the long bamboo.
That one a part of the way I don't
Like,
understand.
yes, and he says, and the man had booked to Biaf 40 times. He refused to listen with him.
Yeah.
So what you people are counting that man can give us something better is a lie. Let us try and see our way and let God open our road.
Okay, pa.
But
All right.
up to now, that man has not replied me to send that.
Okay, pa. We'll talk that different. We'll talk different. Yeah, I'll call you again. I'll call you.
Okay.
All right. All right, Ambazonians. Pa is 85 years old, and listening to our history, of which he has just contributed something, there is a revelation that EMN Ndele left behind. As I told you, if you go back to our history, you have hear of NN Bile, you hear of PM Kale. These are figures in our history that we need to find out about them. And that's why history by SN Tita is very, very important. It's of paramount importance for an average true Ambazonian to read and know where we are coming from and where we are going. I was listening and waiting that the other Pa Lyonga, will call us and also tell us something. Yeah, because these are people who actually experience it first class. Some of us were still toddlers at that time, when these things were happening. But then some of these people who are still alive and can tell us the story will very much appreciate. And if you are listening over there and you are my elder, then please get back to me. I can bring you on the air, and definitely we will be able to encourage the Ambazonian people who are fighting now and have taken themselves to say that they will never give up and that this is the never again generation. We will need you people to come in and give the encouragement so that these people who are trying to sell us, they should know where we are coming from, that they are not doing a new thing. It's something that had happened and some people gave up. But today, our eyes are open and we are knowing our history and we are not going to give up. I want to send this special message to the President of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, Dr. Samuel Sarko Ekome, that if he doesn't have this history and he's just doing what he's doing by inspiration and imputation, and how do they call it again? By intuition, he should read this history. This will give him strength and the courage to fight and cross the line of EMN Ndele. EMN Ndele gave up because these infiltrators came in and fought with using Foncha as a cross net who had pretended to be from Ambazonia, but he was really one of the Makizas that ran away from Chang and gotten a name and stayed with us. So we see a number of them that are still doing the same thing. A true Ambazonia, a true Southern Cameroonian will not for any way go to join the Republic of Cameroon in anything to fight against us. That's why it will be good to make a background check of anyone that has come into this struggle with us. Yes, a few of us who are 100% Ambazonians with God on our side, even though they are insulting the God, we can make it. We can take over. We need to vet a number of these people who are now still in this interim government The other ones that have proven themselves stole the money that we're using to drive at La Republique, like the case in Fako. We need to know where they came from and who their friends are. Like the case in Lebalem, we need to know who these fellows are and what their game plan is, because Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons, must be free. Tomorrow, God helping, I am going to be talking about the prophecies of Dr. E.M.N. Indele. There are 10 points, specially outlined and clearly spelled out. I will need to go into all that tomorrow. I'm not going to touch them today. But I'll need somebody to try to help me get the memorandum of August 1, 1964 by the KNDP. I think this KNDP was the party of Jongu Foncha. Yeah, I don't know, but if somebody knows that, you should let me know. So we want to get into the whole roots of the whole thing, so that when you are standing and fighting and you see those people who are sidetracking us, you know where they came from. This man said, joining La République du Cameroon will make our children to live as slaves. Put the whole of La République du Cameroon together and bring in Ambazonia and put it together with La République du Cameroon. I am telling you that the level of education of our people, even though we are smaller in population, will outnumber that of La République du Cameroon. But who are the people who are servants to La République du Cameroon? These very educated, civilized people. La République du Cameroon knows nothing about human relations, and they don't give the damn to any human dignity. And it's happening. I remember some years ago where thieves went into a particular office, stole some money there. The cashier was sleeping in the house. The following morning, they took the cashier and locked the cashier up. Thieves came and stole. The night watchman, I'm sure, was a francophone, but they left him and took the cashier and went and locked him up. Can you imagine? Because he spoke English, because he's from Southern Cameroons. Ambazonians, are we not tired? If you are tired, then you come and bring this girl from wherever, the nephew of Jongute, to cause confusion in the interim government. And some of you are still following. They will bring the loudmouth young man who talks rubbish, and you still follow. I think there is something wrong with some of us from the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And that's why Dr. Sako came in and said you should hand over to God. Because only God that can brainwash you from the torments and slavery of La République du Cameroon. And you can see reason why you should fight and make sure that you stand on your freedom. And freedom is never given in a cup of tea. So if somebody can get this memorandum for me, of the KNDP, for me, I will be very happy. Of August 1, 1964, we'll get some clauses, some things inside there. Close to 4 decades after this prophecy of Anglophone marginalization within the bilingual Cameroon Republic, and 1 decade after his death, the Anglophone journey in the wilderness continues unabated. As the late Professor Benson pointed out after E.N.L. Indele's death, there is no doubt that if we had had many West Cameroonians, British Southern Cameroons, with the additional educational cloth of Dr. E.M.L. Indele, we would have been singing a different song today. Now, let me take this power. I think he has something to share with us. Okay, he has just dropped. Now, unfortunately, somebody, as is written here, as late Professor Obenson pointed out after E.M.L. Indele's death, he said, there is no doubt that if we had had many West Cameroonians, British Southern Cameroonians, with the additional educational status of Dr. E.M.N. Indele, we would have been singing a different song. But guess what? Today we have many of them. But they are drunken with the wine of immorality of La République du Cameroon. The selfishness that binds La République du Cameroon. I was reading an article a few days ago. Out of how many governors in the whole country, La République du Cameroon, the Betty clan, they have 30-something. Then he went ahead to say that out of 5 governors, Betty has 5 governors out of the 10 governors of the 10 regions, of which 2 are the ones that have invaded our nation, Ambazonia, and they have brought their Betty governors in our land. The one in southern zone, Atlantic zone. We are still learning these names, to put them into perspective. So when we make a mistake and call any name, don't crucify us. Out of the 58 SDOs, the senior divisional officers, Betty has 37. Only from Betty. We are not talking about francophones. North, East, Bamileke. No, we are talking just the Betty tribe. The Efang, the Bulu. That gang, that criminal gang, they have 37 senior divisional officers out of 58. Then out of 200 DOs, they have 200 DOs out of 361. 200 are coming from Betty land. The Bulus, the Wondos, the Efang, and all those little tribes around there. They have 200 divisional officers out of 361. Where do they train them? When do they train them? And you see the mess they are putting in the land. Then we have 34 Betty ministers out of 63 ministers. 34, more than half of the ministers in governmental and authority positions in that land. We have 34 of them. Does it mean that it's only Betty people that produces the intellectuals and the power to rule in a land like that? And all these dummy francophones, they are there sleeping. Yeah, they are there sleeping. They have bought in. I've not been there for a few years now, but one of my sisters who just came from there told me that place is a mess. That it was better in 1960, better in 1970. Today, it is the worst is worse than 1928, where there was no development. Every place is worse than a toilet. You know, in some places, you can actually carry your food and eat in a toilet. But that land is worse than a toilet. To be an understatement. It's worse than a toilet. To the point that little children can now differentiate when a Beti Bulu criminal enters the village and is shooting people indiscriminately. That's to show you, and that's to tell you that we have gone very far. But Ambazonia, Southern Cameroons, we cannot be fooled again. Tomorrow will be another exception. But before we go, I want you to know that Abai Father still remembers Ambazonia and no Southern Cameroons. Let's hear. Brasama, please, Reverend, can you come into the house and share with us how Abba Father knows us? Thank you very much for always being.
I give you glory, Abba Father. You know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. You know my name, oh Daddy. You know me, you know my name. I can see your hand in my life. Lord, I see your love upon me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. I dey hear your voice in my heart. Lord, I feel your love over me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know my name. Papa, you know me. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yeah, yeah. Jesus, your love, now oh. My master, your kindness, now wonder oh. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. Jesus, you said I be a picking, no. Jesus, you said your love go cover me. Every time I look around, now you are the sea. Every time I look around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, yeah, you know me, you know my name. Papa, you know my name, oh. Hey. You know me, you know my name. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yelele, 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 yelele. Yeah, yeah. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me.
Thank you very much, Reverend. Abai Father, truly, truly speaking, he knows the name of Ambazonia. And because he knows the name of Ambazonia, we will continue. Yes, we will not leave any stone untouched. We will definitely continue. Thank you very much, Ambazonians, for watching. Remember, today, Thursday, the 23rd of June, 2022, the president, in a few hours, will be having a special town hall meeting. You are free to come in. Those of you who are following the footsteps of Foncha and the other coup plotters that has put us in this demise, you are invited to come. There is still a time for you to change. God bless all of you. And remember that the Father knows your name as Ambazonia. And when you remember, give him a shout. Bye-bye. Till tomorrow, 5 p.m. Amba time, we shall be together again.